Hey everybody, I'm Shane Ireland. Welcome to another episode of Tasting Notes. Today I am tasting something long anticipated, and it's a good day anytime I get a chance to talk about a new blend from Pease, from Greg Pease, the Dark Lord. Today I am talking about Metropolis, the latest addition to Greg's Zeitgeist collection. Metropolis is inspired by Art Deco, the Art Deco movement, and you can kind of see that on the tin here in the tin artwork. Metropolis is described as a layered blend of red and bright Virginia grades, supported by Italian dark-fired leaf, long-cut Perique, Turkish Latakia, and a little bit of semi-fire-cured leaf, which is dark-fired leaf that is not fully dark-fired and fire-cured, maintains a little bit of the tobacco's original character, a little bit of a floral quality, and it's a really interesting component in junction with some of these other condimental leaves. 3 different red Virginia grades, 45 from 2021, a TBFO from 2019, and an AOBFO from 2023. To that, a little bit of Canadian bright leaf, CAAOIBO 23 is added. That is from 2023 as well. And then you have a little bit of long cut Perique, genuine St. James Parish Perique from 31 Farms in Louisiana, and a little bit of Turkish made Latakia, and then of course the Italian dark fired leaf and the semi fire cured leaf, which is SCFP from 2021. As the components in the description would lead you to believe, this is an extremely complex smoke. I'll get back to that in just a second. Before that, let's talk about the tin note. Really, really beautiful broken flake. Typical for C&D, nice thin cut broken flake pieces. A lot of different colors in here, ranging from super dark chestnut up to some lighter flecks. Oh man, this is something I'll repeat when I get to the actual taste and flavor profile of the smoke. This is an interesting blend because, yes, there is Turkish Latakia included here. From what I can tell, it is not a huge amount. And both in the tin note and in the smoke itself, I wouldn't really classify this as an English. It's kind of hard to classify a tobacco like this, and I think that's an area that Greg is really comfortable playing in, sort of riding the line between historical classifications and really worrying about the overall experience and what he's trying to create rather than falling into a specific category. This one really reminds me of some of those other classic blends of Greg's that fall into that same sort of like interesting gray area in between sort of crossover space. This smokes like a Virginia with condimental components, not necessarily like a vapor, not necessarily like an English. In the tin note, I feel like I get the baked goods and the bready quality from the Virginia grades. Definitely some of the smokiness and some of the fire-cured notes from both the Turkish Latakia and the dark-fired from Italy. And a little something extra that reminds me of, it's floral and it's kind of bright and zesty. Actually, zesty is a good way to describe the tin note. It's not zesty in the sort of like citrus oils and lemon and orange zest kind of a flavor, but it has this like herbal and floral kind of a brightness to it. There's a lot of depth there too, maybe even some, maybe even some almost cigar-like notes of leather, earth, a little bit of baking spices. There's a lot going on. But it's hard to pinpoint any one thing, and I think that's kind of the point of Metropolis. I think the point of Metropolis is that it's meant to be more than the sum of its parts, and it's supposed to fall. It's intentional that it falls outside of those typical classifications. Minimal amount of drying time. I broke up these flakes even more before I packed my pipe, and I gave it a little bit of aeration, a little bit of drying time, literally just a couple minutes. The moisture content right out of the tin is great. The flakes are great. If you're smoking outside, you can leave them a little bit chunkier or even just kind of stuff them as they come out of the tin. If you're smoking inside or in a smaller chamber, or if it is your preference to fully break apart the tobacco, you're going to get an intense burst of flavor off the first light, and it's going to yield a bowl that burns with a really nice spontaneity, and that is easy to control your puffing cadence and sort of really, really sit back and sip and really experience the full complexity that Metropolis has to offer, because there's a lot going on here. My initial puffs are front and forward heavy on the Virginia grades. I'm getting that sort of sourdough, that malty character, a little bit of that zesty quality, a little bit of some grassiness and some herbal notes. Right off the bat, I pick up a pretty decent amount of sweetness too. Some of those red Virginia grades are a little higher in sugar content. The Canadian bright leaf is very high in sugar content, and that really comes through in the smoke initially. It's almost impossible at first light to pick up the Latakia. I do notice some of the dark fired, and I think that the Turkish Latakia and the dark fired Italian leaf are definitely sort of combining to create those sort of nuanced, like smoky quality and woody notes. But it's not in your face. And like I said, this does not smoke like an English blend. Yeah. Tons of smoke volume, really, really dense. Like I said, there's a good amount of sweetness and a good amount of spice. The Retrohale is insane, frankly. A delicate spice, floral quality, maybe some dry cocoa, maybe some clove. Oh man. I get gingerbread a little bit too, like gingerbread cookies. There's just so much going on, and it's so balanced in its spicy and sweetness that I don't really get peppery tingle, and I don't really get cloying sugary sort of sweetness, but there's a little bit of maybe like a brown sugar kind of a thing going on. Again, I keep getting like gingerbread, maybe oatmeal cookies. It's grainy and malty. This is a really interesting tobacco, and it's unlike anything else I can really pinpoint. There are some things that this reminds me of that if you're into those, you will be into this, and I'll come back to those in just a second. But Metropolis is a pretty unique experience, maybe a singular experience. I can't really think of anything quite like it in the last several years. And like I said, that's just an area that Greg is so comfortable playing in, really challenging our preconceptions and forcing us to look at components in a new way. And if you would have told me, like, at first blush that I would smoke this blend that has a decent percentage of Turkish Latakia and dark fired leaf, and that I would tell you that it smoked more like a Virginia, I would have said, no way, that's not possible. And yet here we are. As the bowl progresses, the intensity does build. So does the complexity. I still get mostly that great, really nice Virginia blend as the base and the foundation of the smoke. But as the bowl intensifies and as you work your way through the bowl, you're going to notice a lot more of that Italian dark fired leaf, a little bit of that Turkish Latakia, and from what I can tell, some of that semi-fire cured leaf is really amplifying the floral nature of this. It almost plays the part that a good Oriental would play in a mixture like this. But again, it feels like a Virginia that has lots of stuff going on more than it feels like an English blend to me. Today I'm smoking GL Pease Zeitgeist Metropolis in a little 2X Pebble Grain Dawn by Ashton. Just a really good pipe for this mixture. It really likes it. It's a good size, about a group 3, group 4. And previously smoking light Englishes out of it, and it's really enjoying the Metropolis. So, I think that this is one that all of you owe yourself to give yourself a chance to try. It's a unique, a singular experience within pipe tobacco that does not happen very often. And of course, if it does happen at the hands of Greg Pease, makes plenty of sense to me. I would say that if you like Englishes that are more like maybe Greg's Chelsea Morning or maybe HU's Fayum, this is worth a try. If you like Virginia blends that are a little bit more like Cornell and Deal's San Sepulcro, this is definitely worth a try. This sort of straddles the line between the two categories beautifully. I think that it is easy to enjoy, burns really well, and would be a very, very strong all-day smoke for an English smoker. I also think that your Virginia smokers that are generally averse to Latakia and English mixtures would find something about Metropolis that they really love. The balance of those semi-fire cured and dark fired Italian leaf and the Turkish Latakia with a little bit of Perique in there, it's almost everything you could want in a blend if you like bold flavors and complexity. See you guys.